Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg has basically been on the receiving end of a lot of Republican hate this week, and in case you haven't been paying attention and didn't know that. But one of the biggest groups of haters for Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg has, of course, been Republicans in the House of Representatives. 3 different Republican committees sent a letter to Bragg this week saying, come on in and testify, and by the way, bring all your evidence. We want to see what the hell you're doing in there in Manhattan because we want to protect Donnie Trump. Well, Bragg, on Thursday, fired back at them. He sent a letter specifically addressed to Jim Jordan, who is one of the committee chairmen, the Judiciary Committee chairman, that sent the letter to Bragg in the first place, where Bragg said, quote, "Your letter, dated March 20th, 2023, in contrast, is an unprecedented inquiry into a pending local prosecution. The letter only came after Donald Trump created a false expectation that he would be arrested the next day, and his lawyers reportedly urged you to intervene. Neither fact is a legitimate basis for a congressional inquiry." Now, that's a small snippet of a very long letter that Bragg sent in response. Bragg also went into the fact that he has a constitutional responsibility under the New York State Constitution to not divulge this information that the committees are seeking. So he's basically saying, legally, I can't even give you this. And then he also ended it basically with the big argument. What you're requiring me to do, or what you're asking me to do at this point, is to basically give up New York State's sovereignty for an issue over which you do not have jurisdiction. And of course, he mentioned New York State law, the New York State Constitution, the powers granted to him, all of this, because at the end of the day, the bottom line is Jim Jordan, none of these idiot Republicans in the House have the authority to oversee this investigation. This is not an office that receives any federal funds at all, $0. So therefore, it would not fall under congressional purview as an office that they fund because Congress has the power of the purse. So you don't have him there. This is not a federally appointed position. It's an elected position that Alvin Bragg won in the state of New York, so it's not a federal election either. Therefore, the federal government would have no oversight ability, really, of this particular office because that would, in fact, violate New York State's sovereignty. There is nothing that Jim Jordan and these idiot Republicans can threaten Alvin Bragg with. They can try to intimidate him all they want. They can interfere in the election all they want, which, of course, is what Bragg also said. But at the end of the day, they cannot compel him to testify. If they issue him a subpoena, he can challenge it in court, and he would win hands down, because they have no authority and no jurisdiction over this. And I think it's also important to point out in the statement I read there from Bragg, he mentions the fact that y'all only started caring about this investigation that I've been doing for months when Trump falsely claimed I was about to indict him. I've been doing this for months. Technically, he's been doing it for over a year. And Republicans just now noticed it's very clear that they want to use this as part of their political persecution while whining that they're the ones being politically persecuted. But Bragg's response was perfect, in my opinion. And I'm glad he got tough. I'm glad he responded. And I'm glad he called out Jim Jordan for being a power-hungry moron, because that is exactly what Jim Jordan is. This is Hattie. Hattie wants to know why you have not subscribed to our channel. You obviously like our videos, so do us a favor and subscribe.